pro-market. How many have figured out that the state's only plan is mass depopulation and control of the rest of humanity? Not enough. Alpha waves in the human brain are between 6 and 8 Hz. The wave frequency of the human cavity resonates between 6 and 8 Hz. All biological systems operate in the same frequency range. The human brain's alpha waves function in this range, and the electrical resonance of the Earth is between 6 and 8 Hz. Thus, our entire biological system, the brain and the Earth itself, work on the same frequencies. If we can control that resonate system electronically, we can directly control the entire mental system of humankind. Nikola Tesla. I have held the position, and stand by it, that the masses are responsible for their own enslavement, especially over the past 3 years, when all plans to take over humanity have escalated almost beyond imagination. With that said, is there now a desperation evident by the ruling class due to more waking up to all the obvious lies and deception? The rulers and their political pawns, given power by the people voluntarily, seem to be going in many different directions all at the same time. Fake viruses, world war threats, food and energy shortages, global warming, transhumanism, ridiculous gender nonsense, political false flags, and more. Is this an indication of confidence in their takeover conspiracy, or is it a sign of panic? My hope, of course, would be the latter, but while still not convinced, it seems obvious that signs of uncertainty have arisen in the mindset of the ruling elites. If this means that the rulers are fearful of their lies being rejected, and are reacting erratically in order to perpetuate the propaganda, that would be a good thing. While more awakening is certainly happening, it is not at any level which could cause enough uproar to greatly slow or stop the totalitarian assault on this and other populations. With so much obvious deceit, lies, criminal behavior by the state, and open hostility toward the masses, especially those who question the false narratives, why hasn't anger and dissent become much more prevalent? Could this be due to a mental duality of sorts of the common man, one in which confusion and fear simultaneously reside? Simple ignorance cannot explain away such a submissive attitude by the people at large, given that the horrid effects are not only nationwide, but worldwide. Has the general population been not only dumbed down beyond recognition by the system, but also psychologically or physiologically manipulated to react in a certain manner? If this hypothesis seems far-fetched, how can one explain how so many all at the same time, act in the same manner, and accept and comply with such extreme draconian measures mandated by the state? Measures that dramatically alter their lives and families in very adverse ways? There are very many writers and reporters today who are changing their position about the tyrannical and totalitarian position we face, and instead of continuing to point out the realities of this horrendous societal transformation, are behaving and presenting a picture of hope and a positive outlook based on unfounded optimism that an awakening by the masses is evident. Pointing out the good can be uplifting, but pointing out only the good in the face of tyranny, condemning others exposing the truth, and forcing that position due to tiring of the actuality of our predicament, creates a result of unwarranted false hope. It is not that doom is all there is, but honesty, and a penchant for only pursuing truth, is what is necessary in order to move forward to a position desired by those with a passion for freedom. Societies that accomplish success in gaining freedom, at least some freedom, are almost always the result of a complete collapse or destruction of the current economic, governing, and state systems. What this indicates, is that people in general, as has been evident throughout history, do not come to a position of proper mass dissent until there is no other option available. In my opinion, this is why most all revolutions fail to bring about long-term solutions to combat tyranny, and do not achieve lasting progress toward liberty. The natural result of these belated and last-minute efforts, can do more harm than not, as they are always reactions after total failure has occurred, and therefore can lead to a regressive conclusion with a new dictatorial regime in power. In today's world, is this attitude based on ignorance, fear, or both? Is it simply indifference at a mass level, and if so, why? Are these attitudes natural, or are they programmed into the minds of people over their lifetimes due to indoctrination by government, public, schools, the mainstream media, and mass peer pressure? Are other psychological and physical methods of submission, including extreme propaganda, being used to control the bulk of society? In my mind, it is a combination of all these things. We live in a new world. It is a world steeped in technology, in harmful radio waves, in constant propaganda, in a purposely poisonous environment, and with extreme state-manufactured division. We are bombarded from every direction at once, and non-compliance with draconian totalitarianism is presented by nefarious forces as a threat to all. The result is mass hatred, not hatred of a controlling and evil ruling class, but hatred toward each other. We have sunk to such a low position, as to not being able to define a man or woman without accepting great scrutiny. The fields of economics, medicine, biology, science in general, all the hard sciences in fact, and fake virology, have been taken over by those with but one final agenda, that is to control all and control the world. The so-called hard sciences are no longer hard sciences, as any conclusion can be changed at will, or manipulated to fit any agenda, relegating all to a position of confusion and soft science in the pure sense of the definition. In other words, nothing is accepted as fact except fiction. It is time to only seek truth, and it is time to shun all else. It is time to protect and embrace what little tradition and real history we have left. It is time to expose nonsense as nonsense, instead of attempting to force all to accept the unacceptable. A man is a man, and a woman is a woman. One cannot simply snap their fingers and become something they are not. Real biology cannot be ignored, nor can it be altered to suit the current winds of idiocy. It is also important to understand that promoting hope without hard factual evidence to support it, can be more harmful than not. Good news is fantastic, and optimism is wonderful, but pulling it out of thin air in the midst of the most heinous situation ever to face mankind, is not a solution, but a detriment to society in general, especially given the very weak, pathetic, and politically correct mindset of this worldwide herd of sheep. This attitude breeds even more apathy. Many millions, and quite possibly billions of people, could die given our current circumstances and the obvious horrors we might encounter in the near future. These include bioweapon injections, massive food shortages being purposely structured and implemented by the ruling elites, state-produced energy shortages, threats of war, including civil war, back-to-back false flag events meant to create mass fear, martial law, and monitoring of all aspects of every individual's life and movement. Social credit scores are coming, digitization and monetary control are being pursued aggressively. And most every aspect of life in the near future is planned to be subject to the nonsense of fake man-made, common man, climate change, which is the elephant in the room, and the basis of the drive for global depopulation and total control by the few. All those who seem to be coming to their senses, and supposedly waking up, will not be a factor in any quest for freedom and independence, unless they speak out, practice open dissent, and say no to any and all state propaganda and mandates, now and in the future. In fact, remaining indifferent in these times is not only counterproductive, but is in fact exactly what your masters desire. Saying you are awake and questioning reality is completely irrelevant if action is not taken. Thinking things are wrong is not enough, one must act on what they know to be right in order to change the status quo. This does not require aggression at this point, but it does require courage. Without courage by the masses, without standing against what we know to be wrong, we are all doomed to a life of serfdom. Do not be controlled, and do not allow sanity to be challenged, for all our lives depend on stopping this monster called the state. If you aren't destroying your enemies, it's because you have been conquered and assimilated, you do not even have an idea of who your enemies are. You have been brainwashed into believing you are your own enemy, and you are set against yourself. The enemy is laughing at you as you tear yourself to pieces. That is the most effective warfare an enemy can launch on his foes, confounding them. Bangambiki Habiarimana, Pearls of Eternity. The Best of Gary D Barnett. Gary D Barnett sent him mail is a retired investment professional that has been writing about freedom and liberty matters, politics, and history for 2 decades. He is against all war and aggression, and against the state. He recently finished a collaboration with former U.S. Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney and was a contributor to her new book. When China Sneezes, from the coronavirus lockdown to the global political economic crisis. Currently, he lives in Montana with his wife and son. Visit his website. Copyright Gary D Barnett. Previous article by Gary D Barnett. So-called climate change as seen by the public is not the problem, but whether geoengineering is destroying everything on Earth.
Gary D Barnett.
Thank you for writing the article titled, How Many Have Figured Out That the State's Only Plan is Mass Depopulation and Control of the Rest of Humanity? Not Enough, by Gary D Barnett. First reading by me at http URL. I enjoy and regard highly your writing, and I want to share with you solutions for poverty, politics, and extinctions. Since you are economics aware, I will start with sharing solutions to poverty that is best read at http URL. And includes this quote: I want to share with you a collection of completely voluntary, highly profitable, fee marketplace, behavioral economics technology solutions to reduce poverty and resolve politics. The hOEP Hours Equals Price project is a crowdsourced public domain collection of research into the perceptions, politics, culture, and behavioral economics of shopping and purchasing. You are invited to discover value, invest time, or benefit freely with your good intentions. Perfectly efficient and convenient price discounting technology could produce in the USA a projected annual reduction to inequality of $3.5 trillion in price discounts offered to poor and wonderful people. Sellers would earn an additional $2 trillion in profit by raising their regular prices on all to $12.5 trillion total. SRP, sellers' regular price, while giving $5.5 trillion of price discounts to poor people in proportion to how poor they are. In the richest one-third of the customer distribution, prices would rise and sellers would make 250% more profit markup on sales with decrease of 5% total sales volume. In the poorest two-thirds of the customer distribution curve, prices would fall but sellers' total profit would increase 5% due to 150% higher volume sales at lower profit markup as low as 1%. The hOEP less than 3 hours equals price. hOEPHeart and MOAP greater than 3, multi-factor open access price more than 3, technology and coupon discounting and price setting designs and prototypes are worth consideration. Third-generation smart price tag and automated haggling technology allow new possibilities for how our economy operates. The poorest in our society may possibly receive seller-subsidized or negative markups for completely free housing, food, health wellness care, and other resource access. The smart price tag can price environmental good into a product and make the seller more profit by giving discounts to environmentally conscious and environmentally benevolent customers at the same time. With the right formula, anything is possible if hOEP technology is pervasive in free marketplaces and there is sufficient demand. Poor and deserving and wonderful people who buy and sell things may #demand for hOEP less than 3. In 2 hours you can discover a new kind of consumer behavioral economics science technology that can solve poverty, re-inclusively visualize politics, or and mitigate existential human crisis.
I agree these times are trying, and with everything you wrote in your article,
I would like to share with you a collection of solutions to poverty, politics, and extinction threats to the environment. I have hidden much of this information in a cleverly disguised Google slideshow titled, Seeking Roommate to Help. Save the World and Pay Rent advertisement in order to discourage censorship. You can see at http URL. Just keep watching the slideshow for few minutes and the room photos will be replaced by photos about what really happened on 9/11, or about the Illuminati and how to defeat them, or about the ELE extinction level event that the governments of the world are provisioning their bunkers for with supplies diverted from consumer stores, or about how to make trillions of profits by giving trillions of low-income price discounts and raising prices on the rich, or about how we can replace our obsolete political institutions with free association public-owned and operated shoppers' unions. You may watch videos about how to solve poverty and make a profit by giving poor people price discounts at http URL. Thank you for your 6 minutes of time to read and process this message.
Sincerely, Hashtag Straw Hat 4D King Pirate. Q. What is something about yourself that sounds totally made up, but is 100% true?
A. I will save humanity from near extinction on or before the year 2048. I discovered the Earth gets electro-terraformed every 12,000 years, with most surface life dying as a result of a solar micronova X-ray burst that sets fire to half the planet. I pirate ship share solutions for Earth catastrophe cycle. I also promote a collection of behavioral economics technology solutions that are completely voluntary and highly profitable and solve global wicked problems such as poverty, politics, and extinction threats to humanity. Estimate 2048.
See my flag.
Hashtag Straw Hat D King Pirate. Hashtag Pirate Shipping. Hashtag Pirate Ship Share. Hashtag Pirate Ship Adventure. Hashtag See My Flag. Hashtag Fly My Flag. Hashtag Fly Pirates at http URL ORB. I will be the king of the pirates. This email statistics, estimated read time, 5 minimum. Benefits for reading: I'll match your time spent reading and writing a personal reply with up to 1 hour of my time offered as compensation in return for you reading this message. Just mention in your reply, I spent X minutes reading and writing to you, so now I want you to spend X minutes doing what I want.
I want you for X minutes to fill in the blank, for X minutes, and prove it by fill I the blank. But usually a link to a Google Doc with photos or other proof at your preference is convenient for me.
Providing the proof comes out of the time I promised to return to you, so don't ask for time-consuming proof unless I promised you a lot of time. Also, I won't spend the time I owe you doing anything illegal or offensive, so ask me for something like read and consider and reply to what you're right. Or you can have asked me to return the time by going to some website and doing something on it. For you, as long as it don't cost me money or obligate me to something or violate the law. It's cool, and I'll spend my time doing that for you. Write content here. Steve Whetstone, founder of the hOEP project. http URL The hOEP project at gmail.com. Steve-Whetstone@gmail.com. 415-374-9745 San Francisco.
The Hours Equals Price project, hOEPHeart, is a project to design and test a better sliding scale price tag that is convenient to use and ubiquitous. Since a sliding scale price tag charges more for rich people than poor people, we think this product will reduce income inequality and alter the market profit-seeking behavior of retailers and consumers. We are crowdsourcing ideas on how to make sure this works for the benefit of people and discovery of unintended consequences in preparation for mass adoption, so that when you walk into a Starbucks and they charge you more or less based on your income, it won't be such a surprise. How it works. The price tag on a book says it costs 2 hours equals price.coin, and you think it's worth 2 hours of your time. So you click the buy button and enter your credit card info, the bank, IRS, or other designated income verifier.
When I started my business in 2011, I chose Wix, and it was really because the aesthetic.
Answer. The poorer person is now $40 poorer than before. Inequality increased by $80. What happens if Jenny bills in hOEPHeart and Teresa bills in USA dollars? ? I don't see an answer to that. Every purchase decreases inequality. Hours equals price.coin uses personal time as a unit of measure instead of a gold standard or fiat money. Because personal time is valued equally between people when trading using hOEPHeart, every purchase or exchange of value reduces income inequality. Capital-based dollars are a regressive measure of human time value, but hOEPHeart offers a progressive measure of capital value.